Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The Eagles definitely had some inner excellence today. Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, right here on the Eagles Pinpole Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, bringing you the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your NFC wildcard victory team, Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, the Eagles beat the Green Bay Packers 22-10 on Sunday afternoon, evening, whatever it may be, and advance to the NFC divisional round. Opponent to be determined as I'm recording this while the Buccaneers-Washington game's going on. We'll get into that scenario in a moment. But the Eagles did come out with some inner excellence, and I'll explain that in a second, and beat the Green Bay Packers in a hard, physical, intense football game where there was hard hitting right from the opening kickoff when Oren Burks lays a huge boom hit, forces a fumble, gets the Eagles the ball right from the opening kickoff. And I think the opening play of the game, because of so much that went on throughout the game, struggles, the good, the bad, everything, will be overlooked because that opening hit from Oren Burks to jar that fumble, Jeremiah Trotter wrestling that ball away from the kick returner of the Packers to recover that fumble, set the tone for what this game was going to be. And it was hard hitting. I mean, there were injuries on both sides, but the Eagles were so physical at the point of the contact entirety of the football game that it was set right from the get-go. Well, how did the Eagles win? They obviously were able to turn that initial fumble into a touchdown. Jalen Hurts with almost 7 seconds of time in the pocket finds John Dotson in the back of the end zone to take the early lead. And while a lot of Eagles fans felt that they were going to blow that game open at that moment, you had to remember the Green Bay Packers were an 11-6 football team, were a very good football team, and they did not let the Eagles let the game get out of hand. Jalen Hurts definitely showed some struggles throughout the game. A little bit of rust from not, playing for almost 3 full weeks. He went 13-21, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, but most importantly, no turnovers in the game. Jordan Love, 3 interceptions. Justin Herbert on Saturday, 4 interceptions. I'd rather the quarterback that's winning football games and not turning the ball over than the quarterbacks that are losing, but, turning the ball over as well. But look pretty doing it. Anyway, Jalen Hurts did knock off the rest. He only had 39 yards passing in the first half. He threw for a little bit, almost 100 yards in the second half of the game. Saquon Barkley, again, another dominant performance, almost 120 yards. Did cost me a sweet parlay by laying down there after almost breaking a touchdown at the end of the game. Whatever it is, what it is. Passing-wise, Devontae Smith had 4 catches for 55 yards. Dallas Goedert, 4 for 47 and a touchdown. Obviously, his touchdown, huge monster beast mode type touchdown that he had there. So the offense was what it was. It was a good offensive performance, not a great offensive performance. Showed some rust for sure. The one thing I will say about the offense, while Jalen Hurts didn't look great, I mean, the Green Bay Packers did have the 6th best defense in football coming into the game. Kellen Moore did not call a great game plan today. He did not. He wasn't on his A game. It looked eerily similar to the way he was calling plays in the playoffs for the Dallas Cowboys for a few years there back. So while Jalen Hurts struggled, I don't think Kellen Moore did him any favors with his play calling. But again, Jalen Hurts took care of the ball, did what he could do, and they still were able to get the win. The big story of the game to me was defense, not just their performance, but also the injury. Nakobe Dean, you could see him when he went down with the injury early in the game, basically lip, and I'm not a lip reader, but it looked like he said, "I'm done." So it's something very concerning that Nakobe Dean went down. Oren Burke, he did okay filling in, missed a bunch of tackles. I'll wait to see what the official numbers are Monday morning to see what the exact number was. But the defense was missing tackles as a whole throughout the game, and Oren Burke definitely was, part of that. But the defense was still so physical, hit, every single player, not just ball carriers, offensive line. Nolan Smith knocking on the starting left guard, the best offensive lineman on the Packers, just by hitting them. Nolan Smith had an amazing football game on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers, getting sacks, getting pressure in the backfield, knocking the starting left guard out of the football game on a very clean hit. All the hard hits in the game, they were all clean hits from the Eagles defense. I want to make sure I put that out there into existence. But the Eagles defense was able to hold, Josh Jacobs to 81 yards. He had a good game. He had that big run, obviously, which was also beast mode. They kept Jalen Reed in check down, in a lockdown to an extent. Taylor Croft, Tucker Croft to an extent. Dobbs. I know Dobbs and Reed went down in the game, but the Eagles were able to, defensively speaking, do their job and keep everybody, in control. But Nakobe Dean is still the big issue there that we have to talk about. We have to think about. We have to worry about. Jake Elliott, also a concern coming out of the game, missing an extra point. He did make 3, short 30-ish yard field goals in the game, but missing the extra point. It's definitely something to be concerned about. So while it wasn't a pretty game, you had the number 6 defense going up against the number 1 defense. You had the number 8 offense going up to the number 5 offense, and the Eagles were able to pull it away. I know everyone's going to talk about Jalen Hurts and his, struggles, but I'm gonna lean more towards the fact that Green Bay's a very good defense. Green Bay's got a very good offense, and this team found a way to win. Penalties were an issue in the game for both sides, but they won the time of possession, the Eagles. They won the turnover battle, and they won the physicality battle. And I don't think enough's going to be talked about how they won the physical battle at the line of scrimmage and all over the field. They had 3 interceptions, obviously, on Jordan Love. I'm trying to find them now. I know, obviously, Quinion Mitchell got his first interception of the year. Zach Bond, that was a really clean-looking interception there. I really loved it. Really hyped me up. And Darius Slay had the first one of the game. He got banged up and missed some parts of the game, but that Darius Slay interception was a huge moment where Green Bay was trying to stretch the field. That could have really swayed the momentum there. Darius Slay got his head around and made that interception, so good play there from him as well. So lots of good stuff coming out of the game, a little bit of bad stuff, some things of concerns with the injuries and Jake Elliott. But no matter who we play going forward, this Eagles team will have to play better offensively. You can't have A.J. Brown with 1 catch for 10 yards. And yes, I mentioned before, inner excellence as like my catch thing there. A.J. Brown was seen on the sideline reading a passage from a book titled Inner Excellence. Him reading a passage, a motivational quote, middle of the game, and he was quoted after the game saying that he brings a book always with him to kind of read passages to get his mind right. It's better than him blowing up or anything like that. Obviously, the ball did not see him. I believe he only had 2 targets in the entire game out of the 21 pass plays or pass attempts, 3 targets out of the 21 pass attempts of Jalen Hurts. Games like this are going to happen, where the ball's just not going to go his way. Everybody was waiting for Dallas Goedert to break out. Dallas Goedert had a big game. Well, you take 2 or 3 of those targets and you give them to A.J. Brown, maybe Dallas Goedert doesn't break out. This team is focused on one thing, and that's winning the games and winning the Super Bowl, getting to the Super Bowl, then winning the Super Bowl. And that's what you saw from this Eagles team today. So, you know what? I give A.J. Brown all the credit in the world in reading that passage there. My tone might not be overly excited because it's a long process getting through the playoffs. This was just step 1. We don't know who our opponent's going to be. Washington is playing the Buccaneers. If Washington wins, Washington will be playing Detroit, and we would play the winner of the Monday Night Football game. If Washington loses and the Bucs win, the Bucs are our opponent next week. We have to wait and see. Again, I'm recording this at 8:30 on Sunday night here after the game. So, guys, this is the Eagles Checkdown. We'll have a lot more tomorrow, Tuesday, on the show, more details about the game, who our opponent may or may not be. We'll get into some of the injuries. We'll get more information on the Nakobe Dean injury and the status of some of our players. But Eagles beat the Packers 22-10. We are advancing to the divisional round. We have another home game in Philly next week, guys. So go Birds and bubbles up.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.